Hello everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Gates to Chaos, where we discuss the paranormal, witchcraft, and all things that go bump in the night. I'm your host, the Gatekeeper. Thank you for joining the maiden voyage where we start our descent into chaos. On this first episode, I thought I should just introduce myself to all the listeners out there, describe my practice a bit, and outline what this podcast is going to be about. For starters, as I already mentioned before, I'm the Gatekeeper. I'm a 30-something-year-old practitioner that has been plagued by paranormal encounters ever since I was very young, which kind of forced me to start navigating the waters of magic, so to speak. All of that will be covered in future episodes, of course. My personal blend of magic draws influence from traditional witchcraft, chaos magic, and just a hint of ceremonial magic in there. Some authors that have helped shape my practice over the years were Paul Husson, Donald Michael Craig, and Jim McGarry. I've always been a huge supporter of research for those looking to get into magic. It has always been something that has been accompanied with a hint of danger. You are opening yourself up to other beings. You are opening yourself up to things that might not be tangible. You are opening up gates that you may not be able to close without the proper knowledge, without the proper experience. It's one of the reasons why, back in the day, people tried their hardest to find mentors. They tried their hardest to find teachers. Because with a teacher, it's easier to avoid the holes that might appear on your path. And though holes on the path might sound like they're easily avoidable, when your path is in darkness and all you have is a candle to guide you, they are very easy to fall in. It is because of this belief that in some groups I have been labeled a gatekeeper, which is fine with me. I took the name and I ran with it, obviously. But this is still a serious subject, and it should be treated as such. That's why the Catholic priests have to go to seminary school. Why should artists have to study? Why should priests have to study? Why should the classical covens have to have their 3 degrees? Because it is not easy. It is a practice, yes, but as all practices, it has to be researched. You have to practice. Michelangelo did not start carving masterpieces. He did not start painting masterpieces right away. There was an apprenticeship. There was study involved. Why should your magic be any different? Outside of witchcraft and ghosts and the paranormal and things of that nature, I work a full-time job just like everybody else. And due to the nature of my job, my personal information will never be shared on this podcast. My face, my name, where I currently live, etc. Anonymity is very important to me, but that hasn't stopped me from wanting to help people navigate the gates of magic and the paranormal. Despite my full-time job, I'm going to try and release an episode on this podcast once a week, pushing it at the most every 2 weeks. But just like with witchcraft and magic, there's a learning curve for podcasting. So just be a little patient with me as I really learn this craft. To be perfectly honest, this podcast is something that I've wanted to do for a while. Like many others, I've listened to other podcasts and everything, and they just never really hit close to home. Everything is politicized nowadays. Everything is cultural appropriation nowadays. And I really want to take a step back away from the politics and just talk about the magic. I want to talk about the paranormal. I want to talk about the cryptids and everything without delving down into that particular rabbit hole, because politics is one of the first things that will get people's hackles up. And since witchcraft is a practice, and therefore it can attract people of all faiths, all beliefs, all political leanings. I don't want to exclude anyone. I don't want anyone to feel unwelcome on this podcast. And so that's why I really don't want any sort of the politics involved beyond this explanation. Beyond that, this podcast is obviously targeted to people that want to hear ghost stories. They want to hear discussions about witchcraft. They want to hear about the cryptids that might have been prevalent in their town. So if that sounds like things you enjoy, pull up a chair around the fire, stay for a spell, and join us while we open the gates to the other world. And before the clock strikes 3, check your doors and make sure they're locked. Ignore the scratching on the wall, the sound of walking outside your bedroom door, and in dire emergencies, always utilize your blanket of safety. If it was good enough for you as a child, it's good enough for you as an adult. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time.